Good morning, hockey fans, and welcome back to the Hanover Community Center in hometown hockey, Minnesota, presenting Hockey Night in Canada. What a great day of hockey yesterday, Don. We had 8 games. 7 of the 8 games, in my opinion, were absolutely fabulous hockey games. We're going to get to that 8th game in a little bit. I know you're chomping at the bit to address what went on in that 8th game. But we're going to cover all 4 games of the afternoon session yesterday here this morning and talk a little bit about each team and how well they did. Starting with Calgary and Edmonton. Coming into this game, Edmonton needed a win. They were 0-1. They needed to get a victory to get themselves on the right track. Calgary coming into the game was 0-1 as well. So you got 2 losing teams. The winner of this game at least gets a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of a boost to try to get themselves through Saturday. Your thoughts on that game yesterday with Edmonton and Calgary?
Well, two big things to stick out, and I like both teams. Okay, and I'll talk about Calgary first. Calgary, 31 shots on goal. Sorry, they had 34 shots on goal yesterday, and they only scored 3. But they played a great hockey game. This is what we expected out of that team at the very beginning, and they are a team that I'm excited to see. Their goaltender played very well yesterday. He only had to make 12 saves, but he made the important ones. They ended up winning the 3-2. They're struggling scoring goals. 31 shots and only 3 goals. You need to put the puck in the net a little bit more, but encouraging the way they play. Again,
though, playing against the goal, and we touted this guy, at least I touted this guy as the best goaltender in the tournament, playing against Ryan Wallen yesterday. We talked about this before the game. Ryan Wallen stepped up, stood on his head, and made a huge difference and gave his team a chance to win. But I agree with you. Calgary, 34 shots on net, only 3 goals. But before the game, we put a challenge out there. We talked about Logan Seward and Noah Martin, Jacob Pearson, and Turner Richards. The one nice thing that I saw from Brian Pearson, the head coach, he changed the lines up a little bit. He changed the lines up. He tweaked them just a tad. He took Jacob off that top line, if I remember correctly, or Noah, and you had Turner, Evan, and Noah playing together, and those 3 played really, really well. Made a huge difference. They had a lot of zone time. At times, we were watching 2 to 3 minutes of zone time, 5-on-5 hockey, which helps Calgary out to win that hockey game.
And you don't realize how difficult that is. When the puck's in your own end, it's easy. When you're Calgary, it was party time yesterday in that game. They could skate and play and do whatever they wanted. And Edmonton, it is so hard playing in the defensive zone. It's just taxing. It's mentally exhausting. And good thing Ryan Wallen really played well. And that's what I'll say about Edmonton is that, they got a great chance just because of him. And I know they have a better team. 12 shots on net is just completely unacceptable. They need some boys to step up and start playing. Zachary Goodwin scored in the first game. He's a guy that they're going to need every single game. Ethan Elms, I don't think he's even on the score sheet yet. One of the veterans, a guy that, kind of the talk of the tournament before the whole thing started.
I would agree.
Of a guy that needs to carry Edmonton. He needs to start playing hockey. Carson Thorson, Will De La Forest, some of those guys, they elevate their game a little bit, and Edmonton's going to be just fine.
Yeah, Nolan Peterson, you can go down the list. Drew Pajunin, Brock Sawicki, a big guy that's been in this tournament 2 years. He did play well yesterday.
I thought he had a very nice game.
Yeah,
he was definitely noticeable. Not noticeable just because he's a bigger kid, but he did some nice things. He was able to get the puck out and do some of the simple things that you need to do. And Jerzy Nemzov, another guy that played well. He played defense yesterday, and I thought he had a good game for Edmonton.
No, I totally agree. Looking for those guys to step up with Edmonton, they've got to find a way to win today, and they're playing the 2-0 team, the Winnipeg Jets, the class of the tournament right now, although we'll get into a little bit more of that a little bit later. But Edmonton's got to find a way to win, and the road right now doesn't get any easier.
That is correct. However, goaltending is a big deal, especially when it comes Saturday night. This is a big time. First 3 games, it doesn't matter. When they get to game 4, that's the one. It's all on the line there because you can't win the championship unless you win that Saturday night game.
Absolutely. this is a perfect segue into this second game. The Winnipeg Jets and the Vancouver Canucks, arguably probably what we thought would have been the best matchup yesterday, and they didn't let us down. A 2-1 victory for the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets get outshot 26-13, the class of the field yesterday. And I've even said twice, Ryan Wallen might be arguably the best goalie in this tournament. Loudon McCoy makes a statement yesterday and makes a statement loud and clear that he's not lying down and wants somebody to talk about him as maybe the best goalie in this tournament.
Well, you know what? He showed it yesterday, and that's why, as far as Winnipeg goes, they might be the best team in this tournament with Loudon McCoy playing the way that he is.
I would agree with you. If you look at these two lineups, and I know we've talked about Vancouver as being an offense type of team. If you look at Vancouver, they've got some great defensemen. Guys like Evan Anderson, who doesn't play defense all that often, but is playing this weekend. Sam Stoll, a quiet guy that came into this tournament that nobody was talking about, has done an excellent job. And then you go a little bit further. Yesterday, Brent Glinchen and Hunter Bill played defense. They play really well. Even with those guys playing defense, they get 26 shots on net, but they have a hard time burying the puck with Loudon McCoy.
Well, I'll tell you, Jimi Hendrix, great coach. I really like this guy. If I was a GM, I would hire him any day. Great coach, does well with these kids. He switched up a little bit yesterday, and that's okay. You have time. You have the first 3 games just kind of get a feel for your team, and then I know for a fact by game 4 he's going to have that lineup exactly where he needs it, exactly where he wants it, and they'll be just fine. They had 26 shots on net yesterday. Their biggest problem, all their shots came from outside Loudon made some great saves. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of shots came from either at the blue line or from outside the dots. They got to find a way to get the puck into the middle, either by carrying it or passing it and getting shots. I didn't see too many of that yesterday. Just a lot of shots on net. And to Loudon's credit, it was only 26 shots. It could have been 46 if he doesn't control his rebounds.
Absolutely. And it's a perfect segue into the next comment that I'm going to make, and I want you to comment on it. I've talked about the Winnipeg defense in the first 2 games. We've talked about it for 2 days.
Yeah.
They're as strong as anyone in the field, and it showed yesterday. They keep teams to the outside. They give up a lot of shots. They may give up a lot of offensive zone time, but they're able to keep goals to a minimum and got another victory, 2-1.
And that's why, like an offensive team like Vancouver, they need to try and take the chances to get the puck to the middle a little bit more, okay? And maybe not settle for 34 shots on the outside, but let's take a chance, get the puck to the middle, either by skating it yourself or passing. That's going to give them a little better chance, but it's hard to do against Winnipeg's D.
Absolutely.
That's they did a wonderful job yesterday of just holding down, bending a little bit, but never breaking.
Absolutely. As we get closer to the last game of the day, I know your blood pressure's up a little bit, but we're going to switch gears here.
We're not quite there yet.
We're going to go away from Vancouver and Winnipeg, and we're going to go to which I thought was one of the best hockey games out of the 8 we played yesterday. This was one of the best hockey games of the day. The Ottawa Senators against the Toronto Maple Leafs. What I saw from this game is pace and the pace of play. And when I talk about pace, players aren't bunched up. They're moving the puck. The rink's spread out. They're doing a lot of good things to where there's flow, there's movement. This game had a lot of that. It was a 3-3 tie. The shots were a little lopsided, but this was a great hockey game.
Kids are playing hockey. And we'll get to more about the other one because I am a little bit agitated about the last game. But these kids are playing hockey. They're playing their position. They're doing the right thing. And you know what? You have to mention Ryan Rothberg. What a game yesterday. I mean, he came up with 30 saves. And some of them were just absolute beauties.
Glove save early in the second, I think it was. Guy on the doorstep, a glove save to the left side.
Yeah.
Could have easily made this a 4-3 game.
You heard a lot of oohs and ahs after that one.
Absolutely.
And as a goaltender, that's what you want to hear because you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
Making those big saves. So great game by Ryan. I also got to talk about Alex Delk. Definite difference maker. Played a great game, carried the puck well, plays a great defensive game. If you ask me, he's one of the early favorites of being the MVP of this whole group. I know he doesn't have some of the goals some of the other guys do, but just a solid overall top-notch hockey player.
No, I agree with you. We talked about this a little bit this morning, and I mentioned it yesterday. Toronto up and down the lineup is as deep as anybody in this A pool, and it showed yesterday. And again, in saying that, it's a 3-3 tie game with them and the Ottawa Senators, and the Ottawa Senators outshoot them 33-18. So Ottawa, on the other hand, they drop game one. They come back and get a tie in game two. This team hasn't won a game yet, and they're one of the best teams in this.
33 shots on goal yesterday. 33. They got to find a way to get the puck in the net.
Well, and you got scores. You know, Brooks Cogswell. These guys, again, we're mentioning this name for I think the second time is that Heisinger. That Tristan Heisinger just played a great game.
Yep.
And their goaltender, we're going to cover this a little bit later as we talk about today's games, Zachariah Girard, coming into this game, he was a question mark at best. And this was the Ottawa Senators' downfall. This kid has played pretty good and did a nice job yesterday in getting a tie against the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, anytime it's tight like that, you know the pressure's on the goaltender. So no matter how many saves they make, that's a difficult deal.
You ready for game 4?
Take a break.
All right, we're going to take a short break before we get to game
game 4?
because this one might take a while.
And we'll be back in just a moment